Material things you can replace, lives you can't replace.
Tonight on Connecticut's news station, flames break out at a used car dealership, destroying the business. We'll have team coverage with the latest details and reaction from witnesses.
Helping residents heat their homes this winter, what a new report says about state's affordability gap when it comes to electric bills.
And giving back to a local police department where there is a K-9 officer surprised with a brand new police cruiser.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And we are following developing news tonight out of Manchester, where a used car dealership was destroyed by fire. Sky 61 capturing the scene from the skies as crews were on scene for much of the day, putting out those flames. Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Carmen Chow. A man is lucky to be alive tonight after he was rescued from that building while it was on fire.
Fox 61's Matt Karen has the newest information from Manchester.
Well, behind me is Capital Auto, at least what's left of it. At about 9:30 this morning, flames erupted inside this auto repair shop on Main Street. The situation's so intense that the thick, billowing black smoke could be seen for miles away on I-84.
It's going to be a long afternoon. There's no other way around it.
And it was. The inferno that engulfed Capital Auto on Main Street in Manchester Friday morning smoldered well into the afternoon.
Burning pretty good for a couple hours now.
Luckily, no one was hurt, but that's due in large part to an off-duty Manchester fire lieutenant who not only called in the blaze, but saw an employee trapped in one of the repair bays.
One of the guys that worked there, he was beating on a window with his bare hands, and his hands were all bloody.
He heard someone tapping on the glass from the inside. Turned out to be the second employee trying to break the glass to get out. He helped the guy break the glass and helped him out of the building, effectively making a rescue.
By mid-afternoon, an excavator was brought in to tear down the charred business, which also housed about a dozen burned-out vehicles. It's not official what started the fire, but
Our early understanding is it might have been from welding.
in addition to fire control, crews from the State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection were brought in to see if any chemicals made their way into the nearby Bigelow Brook.
Petroleums, oils, possible some paints. They have us coming in to help with investigation to see what type of environmental impact that can be.
Take a look as our Sky 61 drone captured the massive fire scene from above. The peak of the blaze, the flames, so intense.
Flames shooting out the roof, pretty serious.
They extended to a nearby house.
2 occupants of that house made it out. No one else was in it.
And even once this fire is completely out and this building is completely torn down, the work still isn't over. I'm told that all of this debris is going to have to be hauled away to a special landfill meant to handle toxic, contaminated materials. Reporting in Manchester, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Matt, thank you. And that massive fire bringing neighbors together as they prayed for a safe outcome for the auto shop employees and local firefighters.
Fox 61's Lindsay Kane is in Manchester with more from what witnesses first saw when the flames broke out.
This fire seen from miles away with smoke billowing up into the air, sending people from around Manchester out of their homes here on Main Street to see this intense scene, sending shockwaves through the community.
And then we saw the black smoke, and then we're like, oh my God, it's so sad, there's a huge fire.
It was impossible to miss the massive fire at Capital Automotive on Main Street in Manchester.
I just was letting my dog out this morning and I heard fire trucks coming from all directions.
Friday morning, neighbors knew by the sound of the dozens of fire trucks that the fire wouldn't be easy to knock down.
I saw the plume of smoke way over the trees and houses, and I was like, wow, that's a huge fire.
The fire ripping through the entire auto shop, spreading quickly with the amount of flammable parts and the 11 vehicles inside.
More combustibles mean more fire, more things to burn, more water to put it out.
Witnesses say they heard loud noises while the smoke continued to pour into the air.
We heard explosions. We heard a couple of explosions, and it just kept going and going.
It was black smoke, lots and lots of black smoke.
With the entire neighborhood covered in haze, community members say they've never seen a scene like this and are grateful to those that put their lives on the line to protect others.
I just thank all our first responders for all the hard work they're doing.
The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Stick with Fox 61 on air, online, and on Fox 61 Plus for the latest information. In Manchester, Lindsay Kane, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Lindsay, thank you. A man considered a person of interest in the death of a visiting nurse in Willimantic faced a judge today. Michael Reese is currently not charged in Joyce Grayson's death, but he is accused of violating his probation and also faces drug and theft charges. Grayson's body was found at Reese's home back in October, along with some of her possessions. He's due back in court in February. Well, it's going to be nasty, and we could see some rain this weekend.
Yeah, it doesn't come until late in the weekend, at least. Meteorologist Ryan Breton here now with a check on the forecast for the weekend there, Ryan.
Brent and Carmen, we have a warm-up coming, but it does come with rain and wind. Tomorrow, your drier day of the weekend, and some places will get into the 50s, especially along the shoreline. And then Sunday turns wet and windy, especially in the afternoon, Sunday night into very early Monday morning, and that's why we have a weather watch alert up. But if you have plans for this Friday night, the weather is just fine. Temperatures will be dropping down into the low and mid 30s. There could be some patches of fog that form toward morning, and that might be around for a couple of hours in spots tomorrow morning. And just be aware, with temperatures around freezing, there could be a little bit of black ice in a couple of spots where that fog forms tonight. Then through the day tomorrow, it's not a pretty day. We'll have a lot of clouds, temperatures rising into the upper 40s and 50s in southern Connecticut. So the warmest weather will be near the shoreline tomorrow. And then we're dry through tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. Here comes the storm that's developing, though it really starts to flare up as it approaches us on Sunday with waves of rain starting in the afternoon and then continuing into Sunday night and early Monday morning. And that's why we have a weather watch alert up for a windswept heavy rain, which may include some thunder at times. 2 to 4 inches of rain. A flood watch is in effect for the whole state, and there may be some power outages as the winds gust 45 to 50 miles per hour, even higher than that in spots in southern and eastern Connecticut. Much more on this storm and what follows it coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Ryan, thank you. Well, as temperatures drop across the state, a new report shows more and more Connecticut families can't afford their electric bills.
Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolford spoke with state and federal lawmakers about the report and joins us now in the studio with more. Emma.
Carmen, Brent, Operation Fuel, the state's emergency energy assistance organization, says more than 424,000 Connecticut households can't pay their energy bills. Now, state and federal lawmakers say a call to action is needed to better fund energy assistance for residents.
Energy costs are just unaffordable here in Connecticut.
Not a surprise for the hundreds of thousands of residents who are struggling to pay their home energy bills while also facing rising housing, transportation, and water costs.
You can't pay your rent, you can't pay your utilities, and then you have to make other choices that are not good for your family.
Booth says Operation Fuel's new report shows the state's affordability gap increased 37% since 2020. That's the portion of the energy bill Connecticut households cannot afford to pay, not the entire amount they owe. The current gap is about $608 million compared to $440 million just 3 years ago.
There is no option about heating a home for a family, for children who have to go to school, for people who have to go to work. When they don't have enough heat, their health will suffer.
Operation Fuel is urging federal lawmakers to increase funding for energy assistance.
My message to Washington would be please act.
It's a call shared by state legislators too.
Washington is giving less and less, which to me means that Connecticut needs to then step up to the plate.
State Senator Kevin Kelly sent a letter to federal leaders, including President Joe Biden, asking for more funding for Connecticut's state energy assistance program. While different from Operation Fuel, Booth says any extra money to cover the cost of heating bills is welcome help for residents.
A great end of the year present would be if the legislature can allocate some more funds for this, and then we can all go into the new year feeling that our neighbors will be safe and warm.
And Senator Blumenthal tells me he's pushing Congress to include more money for energy assistance in the federal budget next week. But if Congress does not give enough, state legislative leaders have said they're willing to allocate more funding during the upcoming session, which starts in February. However, Senator Kelly and Operation Fuel say that's too late, as winter will already be in full swing. He's suggesting a possible special session in the next few weeks to get this funding sooner. Carmen, Brent.
All right, Emma, thank you. Well, a game ball for the Army-Navy football game made its way through Connecticut today ahead of this weekend's game in Foxborough, Massachusetts. A group of Navy midshipmen are running that ball through the state, and they made a stop at the Express Mart in Naugatuck this morning. This will be the first game in the game's 124-year history that it'll be played in New England, and only the third time it'll ever take place out of the Mid-Atlantic region.
We didn't think that we'd be able to have this event all the way in Boston, since it's so far from Annapolis. But just being able to make this happen, it's a huge honor.
The game will officially kick off at Gillette Stadium tomorrow at 3 p.m.